So we got the results now, and we can clearly see that the method which is checking character as a string very high in terms of mean. Hi everyone, this is Usman, and today we are going to implement BenchmarkDotNet. And what is BenchmarkDotNet? It's a powerful library for benchmarking over code. It is a library which can use to benchmark over methods to track their performance, and we can share the reproducible stats, and those are very well known, reliable and precise calculations. So we can use that library to analyze our code in terms of performance. It has various types of diagnosers available, and we are going to start with the memory diagnoser to check our .NET code in terms of memory efficiency. So for that one, I will start with the class, and I will put that class somewhere in the same application. This is a console application in .NET 8, and I will now add a class. Let's say I can say string contain. So we are going to check the contains method. In .NET we have one to find string inside a string, and one to check the character inside of string, right? Which means if I want to find a, let's suppose in a string, I can use both of them to find a as a character, to find a as a string, and the performance of both are very different. What I mean by that, let me demonstrate this. For this one, I want to have a property, and I can say this is of type string, and I can say this is title, and I can initialize this one with some value, and I can put the value like hi, I am Usman Rafiq. All right, let's now create two methods which will be finding, let's suppose, r from within that string. For that one, I can say public void contains r, one method, and for this one I will be using, let's suppose it is returning a bool, and I will be finding this dot title dot contains, and I can pass it r, and I'm finding as a string from within that string, and I can return this from here. Contains r as string, and the other method would be I will make a copy of it, and other method would be contains r as character, and we can change it to r. All right, so these are two methods, a very simple class. And next thing would be to annotate those methods with attributes. For that one, we will need a package, and for package we will go to the Nuget package manager and browse, and I can find benchmark and benchmark.net. We can install it. Let's go back and let's start annotating those methods, and we will need benchmark annotation for this method as well as for this method as well. All right, two benchmarks, right? And the other thing would be to what we can do is to, so there are a couple of diagnoser. If I show you diagnoser, yeah, exception diagnoser, disassembly diagnoser, threading, and the memory diagnoser. We will start with the memory to see how much memory efficient this code is as compared to this code. So we applied memory diagnoser, right? And yeah, I think that's it for now. Sweet and simple. The other thing would be to start the benchmarking process. For that one, in our main method, we need to call benchmark runner dot run, and we need to pass that class to this runner, which is in our case string contains. All right, so that was the last thing. We created class, we annotated with the benchmarks, and in the class level we applied the diagnoser, the memory diagnoser, and we have started the benchmark runner. And next thing would be to run this code in release mode, not in debug mode, right? That is a very important thing. So I will be convert this to release mode. I will be first rebuilding that project, and after that I can simply just run it. It will take some time to build first time, and even when we run this console application in release mode, it will take more than few seconds to calculate, analyze the code, and provide all the statistics on top of that benchmarking library. All right, let's run it and wait for seconds. Okay, now let's run it without debugging. That is very important. I will press Control F5. Otherwise, you can go to here and you can start without debugging as well. So these lines are indicating that the benchmarker library is in action and it is started getting executed. As I said, normally it takes more than few seconds, so we have to wait for a minute or so. So we got the results now, and we can clearly see that the method which is checking character as a string very high in terms of mean. The error is high as compared to the second method. Standard deviation, median, everything is very high. So it's clearly visible that in terms of standard deviation, it's around 3 times more expensive than the finding character as a character instead of finding character as a string from within a string. Let's add a few more attributes to analyze those results in a better way. For that, I will first introduce the column rank column. I want to introduce the rank column here, and the other thing is the order should be the dot somewhere around fastest to slowest. We want fastest results in the top and the slowest in the bottom. So currently it's other way around. Let me save it and let's rebuild and try again. It's calculating the results and it will take few seconds. Now benchmarks are ready. And now we can see that contains as character is at the top, which was something we tried for. We can see that again the mean, error, standard deviation, rank, everything is lower as compared to contains as string. So every time we can conclude from that stats that every time we want to find a character from a string, we should definitely go with the contains method, which is accepting a character instead of string. So this is how benchmark.net is a powerful tool to document the performance of your code, and this document is a standard and shareable anywhere. Whenever you want to put a case that your code should be improved, you can benchmark code and you can share the report referring that those results in that report. So that was all for this video. It's a very basic one to start benchmarking your code. There are couple of advanced options as well. I will create separate videos for those one, but this is to just give you guys a push that you can start benchmarking your code and you can start implementing the performance improvement on top of those results. So in case of any questions or queries, do ask me in the comments, and see you in the next one.